Sousa Show rolls on with our first appearance, a highly anticipated guest. Everybody's been waiting for him. He's been helping me out a ton behind the scenes. Shyal Karwa-Moricca, welcome aboard the Pete Sousa Show, dude.
Thanks, Pete. Great to be here. I'm excited.
Well, and we're happy too. You're in Southern California right now. Mm-hmm. Your area, you told me, is doing okay with these wildfires, but it's getting better slowly out there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, it's good to know that you're okay.
Yeah.
All right. It's hard to transition off that into anything else, but we got to talk about the Lakers. And we got to talk about Bronny. You're like our Bronny expert out there in Southern California. It's been a super interesting situation just from how Bronny was drafted to when he was drafted to the terms of his contract, but he's been playing in the G League, and you've had the opportunity to watch him play. Before you tell me exactly what kind of player he is that you've seen so far, what is the scenario out there, the vibe around Bronny and his role with the Lakers right now?
I think a lot of people on the actual Lakers side think highly of him. I think at the beginning, I think a lot of people doubted him there. I think a lot of people thought that this was just LeBron's little thing, but as people have seen, he's definitely improved, and he has a lot of heart. He puts a lot of soul into the game. So I think around the Lakers side of the things, I think people like him. But outside of this, there's been a lot of hate. I know a lot of people online definitely don't like this contract, especially that it's fully guaranteed, full NBA contract, especially because he's a two-way player. But I think internally it's good.
So as far as that contract being guaranteed, and, he's playing in the G League, you've seen him play in the G League. How is that going? Like, how has his production been in the G League? It's funny, Shyal, there's so much, the sports world and the news cycle just moves so quickly. It's almost like Bronny will never completely fall off the radar, but he's not quite at the center of everybody's radar right now. So how has he been playing in the G League when he's had opportunities?
Well, he's played in a couple games so far, and he's averaging 14.5 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists. He's only playing for the South Bay Lakers home games, so he's with the LA Lakers for all of their away games. But it's been a little bit inconsistent. Last game, he put up 23 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists on good efficiency, which was his best game by far. But there's been a lot of other games and moments that have just looked sloppy. He gets a lot of turnovers. He needs to work on that side of the stuff, but other than that, he's improving. His first game, he shot 30% from the field, 10 points, very few rebounds and assists. But he's continuing to get better and better and better as he starts to get used to things.
You mentioned watching him and identifying the trait that like means a lot to scouts, right? It's like that care factor. He has that heart, he leaves it all out there. But if there's one skill set of his that you've seen play out on the court that you liked when you saw him play, what was it?
Well, for me, his biggest skill would either be probably his defense, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
He is a bit undersized, and he struggles sometimes when switching on to bigger guards and forwards, but he's very, very good against smaller guards. So he often, even against bigger guards too, he can play well. He gets lots of steals. He gets rebounds. Even as a 6'1", 6'2" player, he does get a lot of rebounds. So it's been good to see how he's playing defensively. Good to see kind of that hard work.
Describe to me and people that are watching or listening, like what the atmosphere is like inside that arena and that facility, because it's like a practice facility, right? It's not like you're not walking into a huge arena. These are the G League games where he's playing, where Bronny's playing. What is that like when you walk into that arena? Like, describe it for people.
Well, it's a pretty good atmosphere. It's not anything obviously like the Lakers Stadium, but it's very different than any other G League stadium I've been to. There's way more fans. It's way more packed than you would expect. For most other G League teams, it's often a 45%, 35% capacity. But for the South Bay Lakers, it's almost full. And I think it's almost all because of Bronny. Everybody wants to see him. So It's been good. I think that type of atmosphere is good for him just because it'll kind of help him get more exposed to the NBA type atmosphere. But yeah, I mean, it's nothing exactly like it, but it's pretty
Yeah.
electric.
What have you seen from him? Like his body language, like his when you've been out there and you've watched him play, his attitude, like what have you gotten from that?
I mean, he's not cocky at all. I know a lot of people thought that being LeBron's son, having all of this hype, he would be a very cocky guy. He wouldn't put as much heart and care for the game, but you can tell that he wants it. He's such a dog. He really like when he gets his moment, he really takes advantage of it. And he loves basketball too. I can just tell. He's got so much care for the game, and it's really fun seeing him play.
All right, so how about the Lakers then, the organization as a whole? JJ Redick has been under a little bit of pressure. I mean, just because honestly, anybody that's coaching the Lakers and LeBron James and Anthony Davis, there's pressure that comes with that, especially just being in LA. What have the Lakers shown you so far this year, especially like recently?
Well, I've been very impressed. It's a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I thought there was a chance that they even missed the play-in before the season started, but they've been winning games. And unluckily for them, the West is a little bit stronger than the East. So they're a little bit lower than they would be if they're in the East. But I don't even think they're going to be in the play-in. I think they'll be a 6 to 5 seed. And who knows? When you have LeBron in the playoffs, anything is possible. You could win your first round matchup. You could win your second round matchup. So it's exciting. It really is. I do.
I've got you. Is everything all right? I hear the alarm going off back there. Is that all right?
It's just my phone.
Okay. All right. All right. Just got to make sure everything's all right out there. I don't want you ignoring anything major happening out there. Just to talk to me. But yeah, you mentioned LeBron and when he gets into the playoffs, it really is like all bets are off. Does he have enough gas left in the tank to go all the way? Well, I think it's kind of a game by game situation. Do you feel like JJ Redick is doing? This is a tough question now. Do you feel like JJ Redick is doing a better job than Darvin Ham?
I think so. I think that if Darvin Ham was in a different situation, he wouldn't have been fired. Anybody, like you said, who is Lakers coach is on the hot seat no matter what. But JJ Redick has had some really good schemes. I feel like it's good that he was a player. I feel like he can relate to them. And I think if LeBron's happy, then you're going to stay. I mean, it's LeBron's organization just as much as it is the Lakers organization. So I think LeBron likes him, the team likes him, and that's really mostly what matters.
What is LeBron's health been like? I know initially in the season he wanted to play all 82. That was almost impossible. He has not done that, which is almost good. It's nice to see him get rest because that schedule can be it's so rigorous. How has his health been? How has his energy been when you watched him play?
So this year I've been to 2 Lakers games, and obviously he has that lingering foot issue that he's had for the past few years, but he's played in most games like he usually does. Almost every game he comes in as questionable because of his foot injury, but he wants to play and he plays through it. So it's been good.
Give me somebody on the Lakers people aren't talking about that's having a pretty good season that, because right now it's January, right? College football has gone later than it ever has. It's going to be the longest college football season ever. We're just ramping up with the NFL playoffs. But once we get to February, mid-February, people are going to be talking about these guys a lot more often than they are now. Who on the Lakers has emerged outside of AD that seems like they could be a real strong supporting cast member?
So one guy that I'm really excited for them is Max Christie. He's been in the starting lineup for around half of their games, and it's good to see another big man out there with AD. He's playing really, really well, and he provides good interior force for the Lakers. Very good defender. So he's been a very quiet but impactful player on the Lakers.
How about around the league? What are you seeing I saw Jared McClain lost for the year, or Jared McCain from the Sixers because of injury. What are you seeing in Philly with Embiid? And now what are we doing this year? I say we because I'm a Sixers fan, but I'm asking you because you're the NBA guy. What's happening out there?
I mean, the injuries have been so tough for that team, especially with Jared McCain now getting injured. Another big hit. But I think with Embiid, anything is really possible. He's an MVP type player. And if they get in the play-in, I think they'll make it out no matter what. Embiid, if he wants any game, he can score 40 points. So when it actually matters, he'll make it. I think guys might sneak in as the 9 seed, the 8 seed. I mean, like the 9 seed, 8 seed in the play-in. But who knows? I mean, I don't think you'll make it out of round one just because of the top 2 teams you'll most likely have to play in the first round: Cavs, Celtics, maybe even Knicks. But it's not over.
All right. So if the season were to end today, Shyal, who's your MVP?
My MVP would have to be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I know a lot of people want Jokic to win it, and I agree that Jokic, I would take him any given day. But Shai this season has been out of his mind. Jokic, his numbers have been good, just like last year's. But I think Shai leads the league in points. He's up there in assists and up there in steals. Obviously, voter fatigue too. It's going to be tough for Jokic to win a 4th MVP. But SJ is playing lights out as well, so I would give it to him at this point in the season.
All right, let me get your Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the Year. As of now, it's Jared McCain.
Okay.
With his injury, I don't know what happens. It could be Dawson Connect. There's a lot of good players out there. It could be Alex Sarr, probably not, but there's some good rookies out there. It's not as good as obviously last year with Wemby, but still some good rookies out there. Yeah.
So how much? Let me ask you this: how do you consume like the NBA? Like tonight on a Friday night, for instance. Like, will you watch a bunch of games? Will you follow along on Twitter or TikTok? Like, because I'm naturally curious. Like, how do you get most of your information? How do you keep such a strong feel for the game?
Well, obviously, I can't watch every game. A lot of the games aren't even streamed nationally, but I'm on ESPN a lot, just refreshing, seeing all the moments, watching the highlights. And you have social media too, YouTube, TikTok, those types of things. There's lots of every day I watch a recap of every NBA game.
Yeah.
Just a quick 30 seconds. And that's kind of how I get my daily dose of how the NBA is doing day to day. But other than that, I don't think there's anything else. Just social media, ESPN, and then watching a nationally televised game. Those are really the 3 main ways I consume my sports.
Yeah, the recaps are really good. I mean, when you get a chance to see that. What did you think about what Charles Barkley had to say about JJ to JJ Redick? What are your thoughts about that when he says to JJ, like, hey, like, you know, you're in that you have that job now. It's going to be really tough. You know, like you're constantly on the hot seat. And you know, you take this job and you think you can kind of change things. What were your thoughts about that? I always find that interesting when Charles has something to say. I don't know how you feel about that.
I mean, he's right. He's going to be on the hot seat no matter what. If they're winning, if they're losing, it's going to be a very volatile situation. And I do think, though, that JJ Redick has changed things. The culture is so much better than it was around Darvin Ham. The main reason I think that having a previous player as a coach is the best situation possible is because of that respect from other NBA players. It's not like college where the players will just bow down to the coaches like Nick Saban, people like that. You really need to earn the respect of these players, and JJ Redick has done that.
When you look at the NFL, real quick before I let you go, because this is wild card weekend, you got the Rams playing. The game gets moved to Glendale. Kind of like a tough situation for everybody involved. What are your thoughts about, you know, the moving of the game to Glendale? You know where that obviously that facility is, SoFi. It's right down there. What's it like? I guess like El Segundo or in that area, Inglewood, right? Like what's it like down there that they had to move the game?
I think a lot of people are really disappointed. It would have been a huge advantage for the Rams playing at home in their own stadium. And while Glendale is close to LA, it's just not the same.
Yeah.
I think previous to the moving, I would have taken Los Angeles. But now I'm taking Minnesota. They're both good teams, but Los Angeles is getting hot at the right time.
Yeah.
So, especially with Matthew Stafford, a playoff experienced quarterback like that, the Rams could win. But for now, I'm taking the Vikings. Sam Darnold's been good, except for his last game, and I expect big things from both teams.
Dude, I'm with you. I think like that is such a close game that really I think that change of venue could be like the little thing that maybe opens the door for the Vikings. I also think too, like the Rams are used to playing on that fast turf, and now they'll be out playing on grass. It could be a little different for them.
Yeah, it could be. The change of setting, obviously, for any team is different. That's why home field advantage is so sought after in the NFL. That's why the Lions versus Vikings matchup in Week 18 was so important.
Yeah.
But I still think that the Rams, they have much more experience than the Vikings. They could win this game, but it's gonna be close.
It's gonna be tough, man. That's why they play the games, bro.
We're gonna see what happens, but for now, I guess I'll take the Vikings.
All right, we are gonna see what happens. Let's end where we started. Bronny James, and I'm gonna have you back on because I like this little Bronny report because I think there's a lot of interest around it, and I do feel like we've sort of lost the connective tissue on all things Bronny with everything that's been going on. So it's cool to get a little check-in with you. But what do you expect from him coming up over the next few months leading up to the All-Star break?
So leading up to the All-Star break, I expect him to keep on playing the way he is for the G League Lakers. I think that the more exposure he gets, the better. I really do wish that he was playing away games too, because the fact that there's less structure and less continuity for him going from the Lakers away games to the G League home games, that hurts. Obviously going to hurt his development, but I think the more he plays, the better. There's no point in him sitting on the Lakers bench for 48 minutes. It's just useless. So I'm excited for him playing in the G League. I'm glad he's getting some of his confidence back, and I think that he has potential to be a good role player in this league. Davion Mitchell, Gary Harris type player, a 3-and-D guy. So he's got a lot of potential, and I'm excited for him.
All right, let's go. Shyal's got all the Bronny stock. We're taking some too. Shyal, dude, I appreciate your time. Where can people find you on social media? Anything like that? Anything you want to share?
I have a YouTube channel called Slam Dunk Sports. Feel free to check it out. I post sports content weekly, little fun stuff. Just that's it. Thank you.